Cut. Film photography is not dead. Hello, I'm Charles Abels, local photographer in and around Prescott Valley, Arizona. Welcome to my channel. Film photography isn't really dead. I believe that there is a renaissance, and the renaissance is coming from the young folks. Is that not awesome? That's why I have here with me a Pentax K1000 that I plan to shoot today. And I'm going to be meeting a young man from Prescott. We're going to meet downtown at the square, and he's going to be bringing his Leica M2 and photographing with film as well. He is a freshman going to the University of Arizona. I believe, if I recall, he's 19 years of age. And he is really a phenomenal film photographer. I've seen his works, seen his work in the gallery. I'm very much impressed with him.
Got it. It's crazy how long this thing takes me to load. I've had this camera for like not 3 months, like 5 months, and I still can't load it, like, at all. Hold on.
Over the next few days or next few weeks, I want to be talking about how to develop the film in Caffenol. It's an instant coffee recipe. There are several variations. And so my thought was, if I'm going to continue to talk about these cameras, I might as well share how to develop the film. So I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. Today's first part is how to load the film into a developing tank. Part 2 is then how to develop. Show you the process, how to develop that roll of film. Part 3, I'll show you what I do when I archive it, when I save it, and how I scan it. So, follow me into my developing room. This is it. This is where I develop my roll of film, our bathroom. It's really all the space that you need. You don't really need a dark room for how I do it. As you can see, it's all lit up in here. So, thing to keep in mind when developing film is you need just dark when you transfer the film off the reel into the developing tank. So, you can, and it is possible, to purchase what you call a darkroom bag. And we're ready to go to business because we got to load the tank, or we got to load the bag up. Paterson Tank. First thing that I clean up, this is just me. I don't believe you necessarily have to do it, but I have a tendency to want to wipe it out. Wipe down inside. This is a lint-free rag. I always do this before I develop my film. Once I'm done cleaning, put it in the darkroom bag. Now this I call the first lid. Now understand, I have no idea what the nomenclatures are, what the descriptions are. I just call this the first lid. and you'll see why. Stick it in the darkroom bag. This I call the base. This is what you would stick the reel on and then put it into the bag. Roll of film. This is a film I'm going to sacrifice. Now, reels, they split in half. It's a bit of a trick. There we go. You slide it in and it locks in place. I do cheat. This is a shim that I've cut out to fit into here. Now, it's a bit of a devil. Well, when you look right here, you can see what appears to be steps right here. These steps is where the film start, where you guide the film into here. And you know this because if you look real hard, you can see ball bearings in there. This is what grabs the film as you reel it in. Now, I use this to help me guide the film to those steps. See the two steps right there? The guides. So that way when I feel for that, and I feel for that, I could start the film, hopefully slide it through the ball bearings, little ball bearings here, and then once I get it in there and it's pretty much started, just pull that out and go with it. Once you get that done, you stick that in here, into the darkroom bag. The lid for the developing tank. Scissors and church key, or if you don't know what a church key is, bottle opener, can opener. Stick that into the darkroom bag. And once you get everything into the darkroom bag and you're ready to go, you zip it, and then with the Velcro tabs, you flip over the lid or the flap and Velcro it in place. Now, what I do before I load it up is I do use nitrite gloves. But I do use the nitrite gloves from this point forward, so that way, I don't like to consider having oily, touchy skin on the film. I also wear these nitrate gloves because as soon as I load the film up, when I develop or I mix the recipe together for the Caffenol, I keep these on. During the developing process, or once I got the recipe done, that's when I pull these gloves off, because during the process, the developing process, I don't wear these. In any event, from that point forward, you're ready to go. You got two arm ports here in the darkroom, or all sewn into the darkroom, elastics, and then you just stick your arms in there. Stick your arms in both. And now from this point forward, this is where you're going to get touchy-feely. You have to establish a regiment. Now my development tank, I generally put on the left side of the bag so I know everything with the development tank is there. Loading it up onto the reel, I put it on the right-hand side so I know my scissors there so I can cut the leader and cut the end of the film. My can opener's there so that way I can open up the canister of film and everything is ready to go to load up the reel. Now, here's the good news. In the darkroom bag, it's touchy-feely. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out everything and show you how to load the film on a reel. It's going to take practice. And so if you excuse me, I'm going to pull these gloves off. And then we're going to get down to the meat of the matter, how to load up the reel and how to put it into the tank. All right, now the nitty gritty. Keep this in mind when you got everything in the darkroom bag, or you're fortunate enough to have a darkroom, say, you're going to have to do everything by touchy-feely. You can't have any stray lights coming into the bag, stray lights coming into the darkroom. So everything is done by touchy-feely. Practice, practice, practice if you can. First thing you're going to feel for is you're going to feel for the film canister, or let me rephrase that. I feel for the film canister and the church key right here. And I make sure that I have the flat on the church key. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that church key and then I'm going to pop open this side. This is the flat side. That's what I like to pop open. Here's the real side, you might say, or the side that bumps out, that hooks into the camera when you advance it and rewind it. So I feel for the flat side. And I try to get it on the opposite side of the tab where the film comes out. And again, keep in mind, it's all through feeling. And then I pop it open in the bag. And once I get the top off, I drop the can opener in the top, roll her around, and there we have our film. Is that not cool? And then at that time, the next step is you feel for your finger in the dark, or you feel for your scissors in the dark, and you feel for your fingers. And I'll tell you this, there's no amount of tricking that I can do, because I have never truly cut the leader off of this with precision. It's all in the dark. So one can only hope. Cut the leader. Now keep in mind, you're doing this all in a darkroom bag through feel. Then through feel, you grab the reel. Now remember what I said here. I use this shim as a guide. Two reasons. One, it helps me find the tab that I'm going to slide the film through into the reel. Oh, really, that's one of the basic reasons there, is just help me guide the film. And then that's when I take this roll of film. Let's see if we can do this. So I feel, there we go. If you look real hard, I feel, and then I try to push it past the ball bearings. Now the ball bearings are right here. This is what helps drives the film into the reel. Now if I can't do that, then by feel I reach for the front of this reel and then I pull very carefully. I try and pull. Now I'm losing this, but I'm not in the bag. But I try and pull just like that past the ball bearings. All right. Once I do that, pop this out, and this is where we have fun. You just start cranking. I suppose I could do this. It's going to take a few. I can honestly say that in the darkroom bag, I got this down to a science. It's a little harder outside of the darkroom bag. And just keep turning to one side. Now the one thing I want to tell you is on the back side here, when you notice my thumb is primarily over these tabs. This helps me keep the film in there, and should they pop out, it's easy to put the reel or the film back into the groove in order to make it continue on as you continue to turn this. Now this is a 36 exposure, so it's going to take a few minutes. There. And now we're at the end and you can see the tape. Now, I try to cut off all the tape, but in a darkroom bag where you can't see what's going on, then I just sit there and just cut the backside. And now the next thing, once you have your film load up in here on the reel, all right, this is where you take the post or the bottom, you put it into the reel, and then you take your reel with the post and you drop it into your tank. And once you're done with that, you pull your first lid Pop it in there like so until it locks, till you hear it click and it locks into place. Now, at this point, you can really stop what you're doing and take this out, because this is protecting the darkness in the film. It's not going to expose the film. I don't do that. I generally like to take the second lid or the main lid and pop it on there. Set this off to the side, throw things away that you don't need, put things away that you don't need, and then get ready for the next step, which is mixing your recipe up that you're going to use, depending on the type of film. Now, does it take time to learn this stuff? Absolutely. But with patience, you just take your time and you learn. It's well worth it. Personally, I like developing my film with instant coffee recipes known as Caffenol. I do plan, if I remember, I do plan to post a link to the Caffenol cookbook down below for your review. And I would seriously, what's the one advantage that I could see is it's, to me, it's cost effective in that I don't send my rolls of film out to get developed. Granted, they're black and white, but really for me, shooting black and white photographs with my cameras is just as good if I were to shoot a roll of color film. Matter of fact, I think it's much better, and really it boils down to personal taste of the photographer. So, without further ado, we'll catch you later.